So first question I'm going to ask you is, what would you do to save the music industry with the way it's going down?
You know, I really, boy, if I had that answer, there's a lot of people that'd like to talk to me, huh? No, I really don't know. I think that we're just going to keep doing what we're doing as far as, you know, continuing to have a career in music. I think the key is getting out and playing live, you know, because at this point there's no way to recreate that and download it. You know, you can't download a live band into your backyard and have them play for you. You got to, if you want to see a band perform live, you still have to go to the show. So I think that's the one thing that's going to be consistent for a long time to come, is that the live entertainment business will continue to do fine. There's nothing like it. I mean, there's nothing like being around a bunch of people and being in the pit, you know, and the energy of a live performance. So CD sales, that's a different story. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, like I said, that's the billion-dollar question or whatever. What do they do to make CD sales go back to where they used to be? I have no idea.
All right. I got it. So the next question is downloading, the way that it's going nowadays, it is destroying a lot of the sales out in the stores. What do you think of the downloading and how it's going?
I mean, obviously, you know, it would be better if people didn't, you know, take music for free. Like, you know, when someone's taking like thousands of albums for free, it's kind of like, well, you know, a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to record those records for the bands and the record labels and that. I mean, a budget for an album is pretty high for a lot of them, you know, sometimes into tens, or for the big albums even like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So at some point, if nobody's buying them anymore, it will make it more difficult for people to record albums. At the same time, technology's improved for recording, so you can make a better sounding recording for less. So there's a chance it could kind of balance out. Like the technology, the same kind of digital technology that made it easy for people to get the stuff for free also makes it, you know, similar in the same way, you know, technology has made it easier for people to make good sounding records for less money. So there's a chance it could balance out. And hopefully, as far as like metal bands go, it'll not be as big of a problem. I don't think it is. I really think that metal fans generally like to have the physical product in their hand. I know I do. As a fan, I like to have a CD with the booklet, or especially like the old days, having an album and being able to sit there and look at the album and read along with the lyrics. So I think metal won't be quite as badly affected by the whole illegal downloading thing, because metal fans are generally a lot more loyal than a lot of other types of music fans, you know. I think that they're more interested in the whole package as opposed to just the music.
All right. I guess the next question I'm going to have to ask. Last tour I got to see you guys on, sad to say, was with Melvin Creation and Sepultura.
Oh, wow.
And it was actually in Houston.
Okay.
Compared to then and now touring, do you see a big difference in the scene?
I mean, things are definitely different. That tour you're thinking of, actually, if it was with Malevolent Creation, it would have been 1992, Malevolent Creation, Agnostic Front, and Obituary. Sepultura weren't on tour with us. They were on tour with Sick of It All. And
that's right, you're right. You're right.
I think.
It was Obituary, yep. Because you guys played in Houston, and it was a really phenomenal show. But compared to the way that the touring was then and how it is now, do you feel that it's gone down on the way the crowd shows up for live shows?
No, you know, we've actually been doing better than ever with the touring. Like, that's one thing I noticed is right around the same time the whole Napster thing or whatever, you know, the illegal downloading thing started to become a big controversy. Our tours actually started picking up, even though our sales weren't picking up. And I think that, I mean, what do I know? I'm not a businessman, you know, I don't really, somebody could do a better job explaining it, but just in my humble opinion, I think it's got something to do with people being able to get a hold of music and learn about bands more easily, I should say. It's, you know, a lot more people started coming out that might not even own one of our albums. They just started coming out to the shows just because they knew about us, because they could hear it for free. You know, that's my guess, is that even though sales might not have increased with CDs, I think that the business of doing live shows and everything is actually doing as good as ever, at least from our point of view. Our tours have continued to do a little bit better, you know, not like a huge jump or anything, but it's gotten progressively better as our band's gone along. So, like a headlining tour we did in '92 is not nearly as big or well attended as the tours we do now as a headliner. I mean, it's increased by pretty good margin, maybe from being able to get like 300 or 400 a night to more like 700 or 800 a night, something like that, or beyond.
Do you ever think that it'll ever get back to big arenas touring ever?
I mean, well, this is pretty big, you know. I mean, this is as big as we've ever done, being able to play, you know, an amazing, huge metal festival like this. I think it's just going to be for certain bands, but it was never really huge for the kind of metal that we're doing, like the, you know, the full-on death metal stuff never got out of the club scene. This is as big as it's ever been for us, and we're one of the bigger bands of the death metal scene, you know, so for us to be doing this now after 20 years, in a way it's like, well, it's never been better for us. But yeah, for other forms of heavy metal, there's probably been some peaks and valleys, but for us, this is the peak so far.
Does it shock you that a lot of the 80s bands like Crewfest that's coming up, that they're having to do a festival in order to even match what the metal is doing today with Ozfest and the Mayhem Fest?
It's hard to say. I mean, I guess just, you know, it's a different time, you know, so can't really go back in time. There's so many different variables that are different, you know, like technology, you know, all these different forms of competing music, you know, back in the 80s, the forms of heavy metal that were around back then, you know, the bands that were around then, that was one period of time, this is a different period of time, and they're just dealing with it however they can, I guess. The whole festival thing seems to be working pretty well, though. Personally, we love it, you know, being out here and being able to do shows in front of so many people and playing with all these great bands. For bands that we're used to being able to do shows almost this big just with one or two bands, I don't know how that feels, because we never were there. You know what I mean? We're going from clubs to this, so we're completely content with that. But for bands that went from being able to play like, you know, a hockey or basketball place, you know, with 10,000 people, to not really being able to get the same amount of people without it being a fest, I don't know how that feels, because I've never experienced that. You know, we've never were at that level in the first place.
I guess that's how a fan has to see it too, though, because a lot of us look at it that Cannibal has been around for so long. You know, how do you guys keep coming up with something so original like you do? I mean, it seems like you guys have an endless realm of talent. Where does it come from?
Thanks. You know, we're just lucky that the guys in the band, you know, I mean, I like to write songs, and hopefully I do pretty well at it, and same thing with the other guys. You know, we all actually really enjoy writing music, and if you like doing something, you're going to do it better, you know what I mean, than if you are forcing yourself to do it. And we're definitely not forcing ourselves to write songs. You know, that's, I know for me, for sure, and I think same for the other guys, one of the things we look forward to the most is writing the new material and seeing how it all comes together. The creative part of being in a band is probably my favorite part, you know, or it's definitely right there next to, you know, doing the live shows and hanging out with fans and stuff. The actual creation of the music is super exciting. So yeah, we don't have any problems coming up with ideas. I'm not going to say they're all good ideas, you know. I mean, everybody has some material that's better than others, but, you know, we love writing music, so it's not a problem.
Well, I guess my final question for you, now I've watched you guys through years just progress really solid. Are there any of the old time bands from back then that you would love to be on a just phenomenal tour with, that you miss touring with from back then?
Well, obviously being on a tour with Slayer is like a dream come true.
That's for everybody.
Yeah, any band in metal, you know, you get to tour with them, that's the best you can do, really. But it would be nice. We've only ever done a few shows with Morbid Angel, and it would be awesome if we could somehow work it out to eventually do some sort of tour with those guys, you know.
That's a great choice.
Yeah, I've always been a big fan of Morbid Angel, so if that could ever happen, you know, if we could work it out to do some sort of co-headliner or something like that, that'd be great.
Right on. Well, thanks for your time, and I'm sure these guys would like to get in at you too, man. Thanks for all the great music you've brought to us. I'm looking forward to more to come.
Cool,
so.
man. Thanks very much for the interview.
Thank you.